Have you ever just had that crazy impulse to pack everything into a backpack, jump on a plane, and travel across the world? Well, you guessed it. I did exactly that, and I'm going to show you what it looked like for me. New Zealand is one of those places that truly gets under your skin. It has this untamed beauty, mountains soaring from the sea, lakes impossibly blue, landscapes that feel almost dreamlike. I could honestly never get tired of exploring here. But first, a quick bit of backstory. I spent most of 2024 back home in Milford Bay. Life looks fine on the surface, but I was battling a debilitating illness that kept me bedridden for months. I felt disconnected, isolated, not myself. My plans to move to Canada were on hold, and instead I felt this pull back towards New Zealand. And that's when mad campers came into the picture. Together we planned an epic 3-week road trip across the South Island, and next thing you know, I was on a plane over to Christchurch and ready to reconnect. After landing in Christchurch, I picked up the Explorer, grabbed my friend, and we were straight off to Kaikoura.
Talking like we used to do. It was always me and you, shaping up and shipping out.
This coastal gem is famous for its abundant marine life and mountains that dramatically rise over 2,600 metres from the ocean's edge. Our stay at cliff-top cabins felt almost dreamlike, offering panoramic views of the township nestled against a rugged seaward Kaikoura range. We spent the next morning at Ohau Point, watching fur seals lounging lazily on the rocks, completely at home in their element. From there, we travelled south to Conway Flat for a stay at a stunning Airbnb. Honestly, this place was a true hidden gem. We soaked in the spa as we watched the full moon rise over the quiet ocean. Next stop, Hokitika Gorge. We didn't focus on filming much here. Instead, it became the perfect spot to simply unwind and chat with some friendly locals. The following day, we aimed for Mount Cook, making the mandatory and delicious stop at Fairley Bakehouse, and pausing by the striking blue waters of Lake Tekapo along the way. It had been gloomy all morning, but as we arrived at Mount Cook, everything shifted. The moody forecast cleared dramatically, rainbows lit up the valley, and we rushed down to Tasman Lake. It felt as if nature were rewarding us for our patience. A short drive brought us to Wanaka, a place that I've called home intermittently over the years. It felt good to be back, reconnecting with old friends, and soaking in the town's quiet magic. Heading towards Milford Sound, the journey intensified. As we approached the Homer Tunnel, snow began cascading down, transforming the already dramatic landscape into something ethereal. We pulled up to Milford Lodge, made friends with one of the cheeky local Kias, and called it a night. Sunrise that next morning was spectacular. We spent the better part of that day exploring Fjordland. Though if I'm honest, I was completely captivated by the local kids. They're the world's only alpine parrots, known for their mischievous antics and startling intelligence. They'll peel rubber seals off cars, unzip tents searching for snacks, and sometimes even pose for the camera. This was when me and my friend parted ways, and the trip took a deeper, more solitary turn. I booked myself into one of Milford's lodges for the night and was greeted with a stunningly clear evening. The next morning was peaceful, and I spent most of it simply absorbing the serenity of the place, catching up on some editing, and doing a little bit of reflection. Later that afternoon, the clouds cleared, and I seized the chance to get out again, exploring nearby streams and valleys. And right there, in that wild and wet playground, I realised that this trip was actually healing me. I woke up to another serene morning, listening to the rain drumming softly against the roof and the sounds of the forest coming alive. I also made friends with this persistent little Kia tapping at the window, probably hoping for a snack. That afternoon I embarked on a cruise through the fjord. It was absolutely breathtaking. The sheer scale of the waterfalls cascading down immense cliffs and the towering mountains, almost incomprehensible. It's truly a must-do for anyone visiting the country. Leaving Milford, snow unexpectedly blanketed everything again, delaying my drive south, but turning the landscape into a pristine white playground. Arriving late in Colac Bay, I woke the next morning to clear skies and a perfect rainbow arching over the bay. It felt like another positive from nature. I then made my way over to Waipapa Point Lighthouse and was greeted by fur seals lounging lazily in the tussocks. I originally came here in the hope to see the Aurora Australis. It's one of the most southerly points in New Zealand, and lo and behold, I was greeted by a beautiful spectacle over the Southern Ocean. So this next leg of the journey unfolded with me singing, maybe yelling at Zach Bryan at all of the local farm animals as I drove through the rolling hills of the Catlins.
So take me down the road that's a little bit windy, to a place they still put sugar in their iced tea, where the women are fine and the love is fair. Yeah, driver, you can drive me off.
So after scaring off all the local livestock, I made my way over to Curio Bay, which is famous for its petrified forest and its abundant sea life. I was treated by a beautiful sunset here, but only after I nearly lost my camera to the ocean after a rogue wave came through and nearly swept it off this rock face. And yet again I was greeted by another dazzling display from the Aurora Australis. I then made my way over to Parakanui Bay, which is one of my favourite camp spots in all of New Zealand. But first I spent the day exploring the local waterfalls and the lush old-growth rainforest that the Catlin has to offer. Honestly, the Catlins rarely find their way onto the usual South Island checklist, but it's hands down one of my favourite places. Every winding track, hidden waterfall, and moss-draped glade feels like its own little world. So trust me, carve out the time, you won't regret it.
Rainforest out on the streets near. The water's thicker than we've ever seen before.
So eventually, I ended up making it down to Parakanui Bay campsite by that evening, and unfortunately after the rain, managed to get the camper van thoroughly stuck in the mud. But luckily, with the generous help of multiple fellow campers, a couple of friendly local farmers, and eventually a local AA serviceman, we managed to free the van from its bog, but only after nearly an entire day of trying. It started as one of those why is this happening to me kind of days, but it ended up as one of those rare experiences that leaves you deeply grateful for the unexpected kindness of strangers. And after finally getting the van free, I rushed up towards Dunedin to meet a good friend at Fallow Ridge Retreat, tucked away in the hills just north of the city. This place was simply stunning. Easily one of the most beautiful and peaceful places I've ever stayed. After days of moving alone, just having someone to laugh with again, and the space to simply breathe. After a peaceful couple of days, I decided to make one final trip back to Mount Cook in the hope to capture some astro under the clear sky.
Left my home long ago, didn't get out. California, the bird she hides the other side. And I thought I saw her. Broken homes, rattled bones, white dust from before. Now I know what I've got in store, and I've seen future hiding beneath the water.
I had an early night that night and woke up at 2 a.m, wrapped myself in every warm layer I had, and stepped out into the profound stillness to photograph the Milky Way under a pitch black sky. Out there alone, accompanied only by the stars and the silence, I rediscovered that deep, grounding peace that often comes from creating in the quiet hours of the night. The night before, I'd promised myself that I would jump into Hooker Lake for the sunrise. And I'm not sure how many people know how cold it is here, but I will tell you, it's not warm. Jumping in with the icebergs there just rips through your whole body. It's freezing, utterly bitingly cold, but it lights you up from the inside out. And that moment, wild, cold, and starting to clear, it just felt like an ultimate reset. Feeling vibrantly awake, I drove north to one of my favourite spots, a campsite on the north shore of Lake Pukaki. I'd camped here before and I've just always felt this incredible sense of calm, just sitting there and watching Iraqi glow in the evening light. It's a perfect place to just be, to sit and reflect on everything, the challenges, the beauty, the unexpected turns, the kindness, the healing, the whole wild ride. Looking back, this trip showed me that healing isn't always a single lightning bolt moment. It unfolds slowly in the little things. Unexpected snowfall, a cheeky Kia messing with your stuff, strangers turning up when you're literally stuck, and skies that just refuse to stop blowing your mind. A huge thanks to Mad Campers for trusting me with the keys and making this all possible. So if that little voice inside you is whispering, or even shouting for change, just listen. Pack light, drive far. On top of the world! Let the journey begin. You might be amazed where you end up. Hello! I just want to say a big thank you if you've made it this far into the video. I know it's a long one, so I appreciate you getting through all of that. It's almost been a year now since I filmed this, and a lot has changed, and looking back at it, there's a lot that I would change, but I guess that's the creative endeavor, always nitpicking everything and being a bit of a perfectionist. But yeah, before this happened, I wasn't really picking up my camera. Through the process of getting sick and going on this trip, I feel like I grew a lot of love for it, and my life is on a bit of a different trajectory than it might have been. But enough of that. The point I want to make is, if you're into this content and you kind of like my style of editing and filmmaking, I'd appreciate any support, whether that's subscribing, liking, commenting. I've got a few awesome videos in the pipeline, and I'm about to go on a big trip to Canada, so you can expect a lot more coming out of here. Yeah, so I just want to say thank you so much, and have a good one.